Alright, what we're going to be going over today is why you're checking your blood sugar. We're not seeing if you're diabetic or pre-diabetic. That's not the point of this exercise. The point is to figure out why your blood sugar is going up and why your blood sugar is going down, and what foods and what activities are changing that for the better or worse. When we start thinking about blood sugar, we think about why it's going high, and if it's going high, we're getting inflammation, we're causing more damage to tissue in the body. The reason that happens is every time glucose goes up, every time that blood sugar goes up, insulin is released. Insulin is a great hormone in and of itself. It pulls glucose out, helps put it into the cell, and we get a drastic change in what the blood sugar is doing. The problem is if we're getting too many carbohydrates, too many glucose molecules into that bloodstream, then we're kicking out even more insulin. And over time, that insulin is inflammatory. It's going to cause damage. It's going to cause damage to brain cells. It's going to cause damage to nerve cells. It's why they call Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes. But it's also going to drive the inflammatory cascade that's going to contribute to autoimmunity and a lot of different activities in the body that you're dealing with. So we've got to figure out why that blood sugar is going up. The problem with the blood sugar going down, if it crashes too low, is that stimulates this whole cascade that's going to tell the adrenals to have the liver kick out immediate stores of glucose. So if you're out hunting and gathering and it's been 7 hours since you've found anything to eat, your body is going to need to be able to produce some of its own glucose to be able to fuel the brain. So the problem is if we have adrenal fatigue, if we've been stressing our blood sugar for a lot of years, that blood sugar is going to get down, we're not going to be able to stabilize it as well, and every time that happens, we damage and destroy more tissue in our body. So if we have an autoimmune condition, every time that blood sugar goes up or down too much, we've destroyed more tissue. So we've got to be able to figure out why it's going up and why it's going down. We want that range to be as narrow as possible, nice and consistent throughout the day. So what range is that? Well, first thing in the morning, you want that to be 85 to 95 is that ideal blood sugar range first thing in the morning. 45 to 60 minutes after a meal, we want that to be less than 105 to 110. So we don't want it to go up too much. And then when we look further out, 2.5, 3.5 hours, we want that to maintain and not drop below 85 as well. Anytime it gets out of those ranges, again, we're stimulating more inflammation, we're causing more damage to the body, and it's just a big stressor on the system as a whole. So what we're looking for is to be able to keep those ranges as narrow as possible and figure out what foods are causing it to go up and what are causing it to go down. The ones that we think about that we want to make sure we're double checking is any of the starches, carbohydrates, fruits, sugars, sodas, juices, anything along those lines that can be turned into glucose when we ingest it can definitely raise that blood sugar. And then anytime that it's going too low, you want to look back at that previous meal, and odds are there's been not enough fat eaten at that previous meal. So if we can figure that out, it's going to make a big difference in keeping that stabilized. And remember, this is one of our deal breakers. If we cannot get that blood sugar stabilized, if we can't do the things that we need to do to figure that out, we're not going to be able to get the body as healthy as we need to. So let us know if you have any questions. Give us a call.